Hey, we got Julia Waller back to continue our conversation about the best habits breakdown. Last episode, she gave us a read. Oh, by the way, welcome back, Julia.
Thanks, Andre. Great to be back.
The unique ability specialist and guru and coach with strategic coach. The last episode, we talked about some of my best habits, but also the whole concept again about the unique ability statement and what the best habits are. Basically, they describe how you do things and how you use your unique ability. And we're just breaking down my best habits just to give you an idea of once it's written down to get understanding, how you can best utilize them. Check that if you're working unique ability to stay interested and engaged. And also, she brought in a really last minute twist about how we can communicate to our team how to use our best habits, not just tell them these are my best habits and figure it out. So, welcome back again. And
Thanks, Andre.
the
I will
last,
say, can
yeah,
I just add, like, what it to you is obvious? In our last episode, we talked about you needing just yes or no answers and not having people go on. That's not obvious to other people. We don't know what you need unless you articulate your needs, which I'm just realizing as I say this. But this unique ability decoder exercise, or how to coach people on how to use your talents the best way, helps them clarify what you need best, which you're actually already very self-aware about. I will commend you on that as well.
thank you. So the last episode, we went through my relentless learner best habit, which is, the day I stop learning is the day I die. The impulsive thinker, which is the main reason I named the podcast this, because I need other people involved to get my ideas out. And then we talked about the root cause inquiry or inquiry, depending on what part of the world you're in. How I naturally draw out the truth and essential facts by asking rapid fire specific probe. There's a lot of fact finder statements in there, specific probing close-ended questions. And how you just mentioned how sometimes I have to preface when I get into that habit because it can be misinterpreted.
Yeah, I
So,
think the more we can preface, and I've learned this through Colby workshops, but people prefacing, hey, you may notice me doing this, or if I go and do this, this is what I'm up to. Don't worry about it, or don't go and take action on it right away. I might just be brainstorming out loud.
right.
Things
Yes.
like that. Or I'm in my deep inquiry mode, everybody, just if you can give me short, quick answers, my brain's in zone mode here. So work with me. You're trying to get people basically to work with you to help your talents be the best that they can be.
And I think you raised a really good point there, because now as you were saying that, I just realized I say that a lot now because it was actually me catching them from disrupting my hyper focus. Because now if they're going to start expanding on the answers they gave, no, you're disrupting my thinking and you're going to take me out of hyper focus because now I'm focused on getting this issue resolved. You're actually distracting me from it, and I actually start saying, it's okay. I'm in hyper focus. I need you just to answer yes or no because I'm on a trail and I
Yeah,
need
and
less
I don't know that.
distractions. Yeah.
So that's really, really important information for me to know. Oh, okay, Andre's in hyper focus. Don't interrupt, Julia, because I can tend to interrupt sometimes,
Mhm.
as I just did. So if we're chatting, it's usually okay. But if I don't know that, I don't have a hyper focus mode, Andre. To you, it's totally natural, and that's how your brain works. That is not how my brain works. So I
Right.
don't even know. I mean, actually, I do have times when I'm in hyper focus mode, and that's when I really can't be interrupted because I've got so much in my brain that I'm trying to organize. And I've always used the analogy of the record player because I'm that old where it's like someone's knocking the record and the needle's I have to
jump
put the
all over
needle
the
back at
place.
the beginning
Yeah.
and start all over again. So I do have a similar type of thing, I guess, for me. But other people don't have that. My sister thrives on interruptions at all times, pretty much. So, with her, she's like, please interrupt me because it's new and fun and different.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to go down a different rabbit trail. So we're all so different and unique. We just sometimes assume that other people know things about us or they do things the same way we do, but they really, really don't. And the more we can speak up and articulate our needs, the more likely it is, people aren't mind readers. They don't know what we need.
Yeah, and that's where we fail as entrepreneurs. We assume people are mind readers.
Especially
Because
your team. That's the number
yeah,
one quality our
and that's
entrepreneurial
because
clients.
we don't want to take the time. We just hope that they figure it out so I don't have to deal with it.
The number one quality that our entrepreneurs, and I'm sure the people you work with, want in a team member is psychic ability.
Yes.
You
And they're
want
not
them
out
to
there.
read your mind, right? That's why at Strategic Coach, Dan and Babs have these amazing tools that help you communicate your best judgment, your standards, your results, your goals to other people. First of all, you got to communicate them to yourself, but then how do you communicate them to your team? Your team does not, I can guarantee you, they don't know.
No, and this unique ability process is one of the first ways to do it. So they understand what you're there for, what you're best used for, and an explanation why you're not doing certain things.
Same for your family. I mean, I've had clients who are really amazing problem solvers at work. And then when they go home, they just assume that their wife is going to handle the problems at home for whatever reason. And then it turns out actually that their unique ability was needed in those situations at home. And it's not a male female
burnout too.
Exactly. It's whose unique ability is best suited to this type of issue or situation. And it may be one or the other, but at least look at it first. Don't make assumptions that, oh, well, it's on your, kind of like a job description. Just because it's on your job description, you have to do it. It's like, well, let's design the job description so it fits with people's unique abilities, because you're going to get way better results. You're going to have much more creativity and energy. People will be happier because they're doing what they love to do.
Yeah, and if you can do that for your team too, then you're going to have endless support and dedication, because they're wanting to do it because they're doing stuff they enjoy and they're great at.
Exactly.
Not making stronger weaknesses.
That's right. That's why we have people love coming to Strategic Coach, because they're like, where do you get these people? Do they grow on trees? It's like, no, we have a unique ability culture where people are naturally, we work to have their roles align with their unique ability over time. And so we love what we do. We love going into work and helping people using our talents. And I think everybody ideally would like to have that. We just have a world that doesn't have a lot of that happening.
Well, one of the main reasons a lot of the entrepreneurs go back to strategic coaches because of the support system, like yourself, the PAs, being there to support the entrepreneur, and we're not told what to do. We're not told how to think. We're just like, really? What do you think more about that, or write it down? And they're there for support. It's everything we come up with is, yeah, it's doable. Do it. Right?
Yeah, our program advisors are amazing coaches between the sessions, our PAs, as you said. And I think we would never deign to tell our entrepreneurs what to do. You are all successful entrepreneurs in your own right, and you have your own minds and you're very independent. So we just help you think about your thinking and help you get in touch with what you really want in life and help you have more of that. And whether it's personal, professional, it's very holistic.
But also valuing ourselves is the big one for me. Like the unique ability process, even the other stuff, taking time off, you're being taught how to value yourself, and it's okay not to
100%.
follow the society bull crap about
be unique, be yourself. You don't have to do it the way everybody, and that's part of Dan's unique ability, is freeing people up from quote unquote manipulation, where you're being manipulated by the world. This is the way you should be. This is the way the school system says you should be. This is the way the society thinks you should be, where your profession or your industry or your mother or your father or whomever they think you should be. It's like, well, you should be yourself. And how do you figure out what that is? How do you get in touch with that? How do you do more of it? How do you do it better? Because then you end up with this amazing, batteries included, self-managing team. You're a self-managing entrepreneur because you're managing your own talents. You're applying yourself to the right solution. Like for you, as such a complex problem solver, an amazing learner, and an impulsive thinker, we want to put you in the right situation, because other situations you're not going to be a good fit for. And
no, but I'm not a good fit. I'm disruptive, distracting. I get impatient and my mouth runs off. And
yeah. And you put me in the wrong situation and I'm going to have negative after effects from me too. It might be different than yours, but either one, it's not good for anybody, basically, when someone's in the wrong spot, doing the wrong activity. And those activities will change and evolve over time. As you grow and as you expand or as you shift gears, they will change.
Yeah. And then people will disengage if they continually do things they're not good at and don't don't want to
Yeah.
expand on.
That's usually when people are ready to sell their business. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm gonna do
Well,
too
and
much
also,
stuff.
and I'm also referring that to for the team member as well.
Yeah.
If you're
Oh,
engaged
yeah. Oh,
team
gosh.
force, workforce, they need to be doing things they enjoy and love. If
Yeah, I
not,
don't know the current percentage, but the percentage of people who are actively engaged in their jobs is actually pretty low.
like 20%, something like that. It's just
Yeah. It's
disgusting.
crazy, you know, and then that's why, you know, so many people quit, I think, recently.
Well, that's why the whole issue with the great resignation, I hate that term, but over COVID, is people have finally had time to think about, this is not fun and there's something better. So how can I do it? So anyways, let's go back to the last two best habits. And then after that, I want to decode this decoder thing you're talking about.
All right. Awesome. I'd love your take on it. All right. So solution simplifier is another one of your Andre's best habits. So these are his words. Solutions are simplified by my focused and logical, direct, open-ended questions with those involved. The generated solution is correct in a meaningful and correct way with well thought out insights. Just because it was done before doesn't mean the solution is still relevant. So wow, we've got focused, logical, direct, open-ended questions. And a couple of your best habits talk about different kinds of questions. So you are an amazing questioner. First of all, I saw that pattern, asking questions. I mean, I think you're digging for information, really,
Yes.
right?
Oh, yeah.
And your capacity and ability to dig for the right information, I think, is commendable. And then I wanted to ask you about the word correct, because I know, you know, for those of you familiar with and listen to Andre's podcast about the print assessment, which talks about your deepest unconscious motivators, your one print is your lead major motivator, which is for things to be perfect, correct, and right. So what does correct mean? Is this like appropriate for the situation?
Appropriate the situation, like from the engineering world, there's a lot of codes and regulations we have to follow. So yes, it may not be the answer the customers or the client's wanting, but is the correct way to go because of the codes. And we deal with that ahead of time. So we deal with the difficult conversation. I know this is what you want to do, but this is the only way we can do it because of this. And that's what I say has with the insights. Like I got a reason, an explanation for my decision. It's not just because I'm say so.
Not just on a whim.
Right. And
No.
then at the same time, if I'm doing more coaching or like, you know, we have these kind of discussions, sometimes you don't like to hear what I'm saying, but it's the correct thing. What I believe is the correct thing to do for you to do. Because, you know, I just don't like I hate, like the biggest thing I told the PA as a coach was don't sugarcoat it. I hate sugarcoating. If you're going to say I'm not really good at this, don't build me up just to say I suck at it.
So that would be one coaching tip for anyone working with you, is to be direct. And I think anybody I know, and I think that's one of the things I really love and appreciate about you, is how direct you are, because that actually gives me, I may not naturally be that direct, but when I'm with you, I feel free to be direct. I feel free to be honest. I mean, I am already honest, but I feel free to say what's on my mind. I know your feelings aren't going to get hurt. I can say whatever I need, you know, and you're going to deal. And if your feelings are hurt, you're going to tell me. So there's nothing in between that.
And then the other thing too, I found if my feelings are hurt, instead of reacting, I actually check in to see, because sometimes if my feelings are hurt, I think there's some truth in there I don't want to deal with.
Yeah, usually when someone pushes your button, it's because your button needs looking at. It's not because someone else pushed your button, right? So, but again, you've got that high level of self-awareness and you dig into this stuff for yourself. You're always analyzing. So you're such an amazing analytical brain. You're analyzing yourself all the time. You're analyzing me, but you're also analyzing you. You're analyzing the engineering situation. You're analyzing your coaching situations. I do not have an analytical strength. That is not one of my strengths. It's very low for me on the Clifton strengths. I'm not an 8 fact finder like you are. So we've got your ability to analyze situations that we can also count on and trust. So we can count on the fact that you've thought it through. You're not just going to throw something out just spontaneously without backing up of fact and detail and information.
And that's one of the biggest things I got from when I was sending out the unique ability questionnaire there was everyone came back, says every time you had a counter, like if you didn't agree with something, you always had a valid point.
You're going to be able to justify, according to your Colby, according to your analytical.
Well, I never liked it when people just say no and there's no rhyme or reason.
Yeah, you want to know the reason behind it, and you have a reason. Now, I may not always be able to give people a reason because it might be for me more of an intuitive hit, right? So we could challenge each other in that domain. But I think I think knowing that you can back everything up. And I think as an engineer, I mean, we want someone who's going to make sure that things are done correctly, they're done accurately, or things will break down big time.
And this habit causes me a lot of problems in the engineering world because
Tell me about that.
it's my simplification. Engineers
Okay.
like to complicate things. They like to
Right.
see like a little bump in the road is a big complex thing and it takes 5 months to fix. No, just fill it up with dirt and put new asphalt. Done. Right. And the common talk back is it can't be that simple.
Interesting.
Because a lot of times, I say, no, that's irrelevant. That's irrelevant. Well, no, that's relevant. This is relevant. That's irrelevant. Like, no, you can't just dismiss that as irrelevant. It is irrelevant. I just know it.
Your ability to sift and sort what's
Yeah.
relevant and what's not. I mean, that helps you get, like we talked last time about getting to the root cause, but that also helps you come up with the simplest solution.
Yeah.
Again, that's an ability that I don't have. So if I'm one of your clients, I'm going to get that. Now that is counter to your industry because I think people like the complexity because they can sound smart. I mean, you tell me why
Exactly.
they sound smart. Maybe it's like a lawyer, for example. My dad used to do simplified plain language for lawyers because he's like, there's a simpler way. And he's always taught my sister and I about plain language writing because there's a simpler way to say things, but lawyers like to make things lawyers speak. And then you need to pay them to help you decipher a contract.
In engineering, engineers like to make 20, 30 page reports with 200 pages of appendices. My rule here is actually if it's more than 2 pages, it's too much. We try to keep it on 1 page. I got those 3 basic things, boom, boom, boom. And then people are saying, oh, we paid all this money, or engineers, no, you didn't say it up. But you know what? The customer knows what needs to be done. They go.
Well, and that's such a great counter way to do it. I think your self-assurance really comes in here too. Like you're quite confident in the strategies or the solutions that you're suggesting. And I think it does take certain confidence to boil it down to 1 or 2 pages because I think other people are hiding behind their 30-page report. Oh, look at us. We're really good. You know you have the correct answer. You know it's right. And you actually have the client's best interests in mind. That's what I keep hearing you say. You're looking at the unique individual needs of that client and you're giving them a simple solution. I think that sets you apart from the marketplace. And that's one of the reasons people would want to deal with you.
Yeah, and the right clients, not all of them.
Right.
Because the other thing too with the self-assurance is it's also misunderstood as inflexible and stubborn.
Which I'm sure you can be.
Yeah, I can be.
But self-assurance, I mean, Dan Sullivan has self-assurance in his top strengths too, which is one of the rarest strengths in the Clifton Strengths 34 assessment, I will add. And that comes with a great deal of confidence in how you perceive the world. And for him, it's confidence in his ideas. For you, it's confidence in your analysis, in your solutions, in your simplification. And I think, at its best, it gives other people confidence as well. And Dan's always telling our successful entrepreneurs to focus on protecting their confidence because that's your energetic lifeblood as an entrepreneur. If you lose your confidence, I think this is true for any person really, nothing's possible. When you've got your confidence, anything's possible. So protecting it, and even back, we talked about in your Relentless Learner last time about calming people's fears in the unknown. You help people have confidence.
Yeah, my self-assuredness.
Yeah, and your learner, right? Both of them, again, these are all intermixed and intermingled together, cooking in the same pot. So, but that self-assurance is something that other people can latch onto and they can count on, and they can kind of get on. Also your 8 print, which is strong and self-reliant. You've got enough strength for everybody. You can pull people under your wing and make sure they're protected and make sure they're okay. Make sure they're confident going through some challenging times or dealing with complex issues that they don't know how to solve.
Yeah. You wanted one more best habit?
Sure. Let's do this one because this really ties in a lot with your strengths coaching and your uniqueness coaching too. So intuitive challenger. I see you. This is Andre's words again. I see you, the true you, and I can relate. I see your strengths, your motives, your desire. Oops, I missed a word here. Your desires. You are unique and you're interesting to me. That is huge right there, by the way. I'll come back to that. It's a passion. I connect with you at a deep level and challenge your thinking of yourself. I offer advice and ask direct questions, but are bigger than the answers. So you can create a bigger and better future for yourself, but only if you want to see. So you're not going to force it down my throat. You're going to offer it in a direct way if I'm open to it and I want to, which is a great self-awareness for you to be making sure you're applying your talents in the right way so they don't become a
Yeah.
weakness.
If you don't care, I don't care, and I'm not going to bother.
Exactly, which is good. That's a good filter for you. You know what? Don't go down that rabbit hole because the person doesn't care. What I love, especially about this one at the beginning, is I see you, the true you, and I can relate. It's like to be seen, first of all, is a huge gift to help people be seen. And the fact that you're interested in people, you know, I'm interested in people too. So when I ask questions, it's coming from a genuine place of wanting to understand and wanting to know. And I think that's very true for you. And you're passionate about seeing people at a deep level and connecting them and then helping them again, improve, be better, have a better life.
Yeah. And I will stand up for them so they have the right to be unique.
Awesome.
I will stand up to say, if someone says, well, Julia's kind of blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what, you understand that this, you know, I will stand up for my people.
I want to add in here. That's such a big part of your individualization strength on the Clifton strengths, because you can see and appreciate and honor the uniqueness of each person. And then you also can sort of, when you're with Julia, you're going to be a certain way. And when you're with Shannon, you're going to be a different way, because you can adapt like a little bit like a chameleon, but it's authentic. Right. It's just based on your keen observation of people's unique strengths. And you know what's going to work best for them, which is a great thing from a relationship standpoint, from a friendship standpoint, from a coaching relationship, because you're not going to give a cookie cutter approach to anybody.
No, I don't. I look to help you, the unique person and their unique issues, and not have this cookie cutter where I hopefully 60% works for you. No.
Yeah. And a lot of people, I think, feel they kind of have their uniqueness beaten out of them. You know, who you are is not okay. It doesn't fit with certain systems of our society. Well, and so
I think all the listeners can just say, oh, yeah.
Yeah, especially our ADHD entrepreneurs, right? I know that's why I think talking to someone who can relate to that is such a valuable thing, because you can understand. This is a brilliant ability, you know. Again, who's your best audience for this type of intuitive challenger? We know it's someone who wants to grow, who wants a bigger future for themselves. They can take some challenging, right?
Yeah, and they want to grow. Again, it's self-awareness, gain self-actualization, and just it's a lifelong journey. Every day as I get better, there's always something more refinement to do, and how can we do it? And be open to, hey, I'm struggling, I'm not understanding how this is going. Oh no, honestly, you're doing something you're not good at, so let's stop that. Or how can we figure out to make it work? Or you're going to have to go through this pain. No, we just are aware of it, and let's strategize. Yeah, that's kind of like the way I see it.
The freedom to free yourself up from the things that are not fitting for you.
So I want you, can you just spend the last few minutes here, and you bringing this up, having the decoder on how people to use, how can we communicate to our team to better use our best habits? I kind of always saw, hey, I identified, I understand it. This is how it is. Team, figure it out. These are just how it is. But now
true to your style, Andre.
But well, I think in a way, most people see it that way. I'm just a little more direct. Yeah. But now if you're saying, if we rephrase those from their perspective, what's the gain? What's the benefit? I want you to expand on that, because I think this is huge. We've always seen it from our side, but not necessarily from the other side.
Well, I guess the first thing that pops into mind is things are going to go a lot smoother for both of us, right? So if I understand how best to work with you, then we're not going to have fights. We're not going to get into trouble with each other. Right. It's going to be so much smoother. It's going to be more efficient. It's going to be more effective. It'll be faster, which I love. Efficiency is big for me. It's going to make everything better. It's going to feel better. It's going to create better results. It's going to be more fun, more enjoyable. It'll be, it's really a teamwork strategy. It's like, how do we create better teamwork? And if you want to go down the path of being in your unique ability, you must become focused on having better teamwork. Because by nature, when you're in a unique ability situation, unique ability teamwork situation, you have to rely on others. You need their strengths and talents, because you're not doing everything yourself anymore. Yes. So I think this is one of the things I appreciate so much about Dan Sullivan, is he puts teamwork number one. He will be his unique self, but he figured out how to work with me, someone who's very opposite than he is. Yep. And it's his commitment to teamwork, because he knows he doesn't want to do it all himself, and he values and honors everyone's unique ability around him, creates a space for that to grow along with Babs. And then he focuses, how can I be a better team player? So if you're not willing to take the time to decode, and I think not only be a better team player, you're going to end up having a better relationship as a person who cares a lot about people and relationships. If you understand me and I understand you, we're going to have a much better, deeper relationship as a result.
Yeah. And I know that's important to you.
Yeah, it totally is.
And I think that's a great summary of how to decode it. And like you said, if we can communicate how your team can best use your unique ability, best habits, basically how to best use your abilities, it's almost kind of like a cheat sheet for them, how to engage it and how to initiate it versus this is how it is, or this is what it is. And you understand it, I understand it, but how do we use it? I think that's a big key one.
Well, we make a lot of assumptions, right? We assume that other people get what that means. Meanwhile, they're over in their world with their unique talents that are very different than yours, or you probably wouldn't have hired them because you need them to do something very different than you. So they don't really understand you. You can put it in words on a piece of paper, but until you bring it to life a little bit and give some context around it and say, well, here's what this means to you. We're all very self-focused at some level, right?
So okay. And another thing the superstar just said, something else profound. It's, what was it? Darn. People do not understand us as entrepreneurs, period. Not even the ADHD. The ADHD part just gives us a little more of that difference, but even entrepreneurs, people who work for us do not understand us because one, we're completely different in the way we see the world and how we do things, but also the same time is most times we don't communicate it, and we need to communicate more. So I think that's a really good thing for you to point out. And, there's another point to take away from this episode. And the takeaway here today is we all have unique best habits that defines our unique self. And when you know this, it is a secret weapon, and it is the value to your clients, how they see you, respect you, and want to work with you, which also means your team. And if we can provide this decoder, that's an extra couple of hours that actually can really improve how your team works, save time, provide more value. And like Julia mentioned earlier, what you do is obvious, is not obvious to others, and that's your unique ability.
Spot on. It's the weirdest thing in the world. We just assume other people are like us, and they're not.
And it feels like it's not work because we enjoy it. And that's another measure to say, if I'm enjoying this, hey, I should be paid more to do this.
That's right.
And
if you enjoy it, it feels easy and it feels natural. Doesn't mean every application is easy.
No, but we just got to get over that mindset that society's taught us is, well, if it's not hard, then it's not work or not valuable. Right. And this is where I'm starting to learn and starting to see it. And I'm trying to structure my companies and my tasks to stay in my unique ability so I can hyper-focus more. And thank you, Julia, for bringing clarity on it. Like this, I didn't want to, this wasn't a bragging episode here. What we wanted to do here, and this was Julia's idea, was to demonstrate the power of understanding your unique ability and how the best habits work, how it can be communicated to your team, how you use them. But at the same time, once it's written, you can actually check and see if you're not having a good time, why? Like over COVID, I wasn't learning anymore. Actually, I wouldn't been learning for almost 10 years. That's why my company's dipped. So it's a great measuring stick. It's your measuring stick, and it's not someone else's. Thanks again, Julia.
My pleasure. Thanks, Andre. And I get to brag on you. I'm happy to do that anytime.
Yes. And I want to ask you, the listeners, when we go off here, is how do you protect your confidence? And I'd like to hear about that. So send me an email at andre@andreb.ca. Let me know how you protect your confidence. And thanks for listening. Thanks again, Julia. Love it.
Take care, Andre.